So today I have, I would feel quite comfortable calling this guy the notorious Imran Naeem joining me. And the reason for this conversation is when you start reading reports about the importance of community, how community spirit has picked up with great momentum recently, even in the midst of everyone being locked down. My immediate thoughts when I hear the word community are of Mr. Naeem. I am honoured to say I've known this chap for an awfully long time now. 20 years, and I reached out to Imran and said, Imran, we need to have a talk about what you understand as community, what you know to be. So without further ado, Mr. Naeem, thank you for joining me. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, champ. I'm good. I'm really good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Thanks, buddy. I'm okay. It's all a bit bizarre, isn't it, this?
Yes, yeah, it is. It's a bit crazy, but we've got to make the best of a bad situation. Yeah.
As always, Mr. Positivity. No matter what you're faced with, you can always see the positives in it. That's what I love about you. So, yeah, the reason I wanted to have a chat with you and perhaps share your thoughts on everything that's going on is as I said there, you're such a community-driven person. Tell us a bit about what you do. What's your day-to-day like?
So I work for Middlesbrough Council in public health. I'm part of a team called the Health Development Team. And we work with people who are referred by doctors on excise referral. So people who have conditions, back pain, knee replacements, all that type of thing, and we rehabilitate them and get them back on the feet, so to speak.
Wow. So from a day-to-day basis, you are helping. Is it the entire population that come under that remit? Is it a certain age group? How does it work?
Yeah, it's pretty much the whole community, regardless of age and gender and ethnicity. So it's across the board really, but predominantly we find that we get a lot more older people who have conditions or need help to rehabilitate and get them back into everyday life.
Okay, so interesting then. Very similar to me, and obviously you and I both know this from several discussions we have on a regular basis, but you are face to face. Most of your day you are spending face to face with your clients, as you say, helping them to get fit again, to get back out into society. So when something like this happens and we are locked down, isolated, how's that impacting your day to day? What does that mean for you?
It's massive, really, because like you say, it's every part of my days with dealing with people, helping people, talking to people, communicating with people, and being around people and dishing out as much positivity as possible. But we're hampered by this massively. So now it's a time for strategic planning, SWOT analysis of what we've been doing, and trying to better our practices and things like that. So hopefully, when we do get back to work in a full way, then we'll be ready to go.
Okay, interesting. So you're basically reflecting on the way that the service is delivered and looking at ways of improving that, which really interesting. And you mentioned the other day to me about and something I'll honestly admit to being naive about, but the pure number of people that are alone in this situation, and how you've kind of diversified skill sets, and you were saying that you're now helping those people out. Tell us a bit about that.
So a part of the work now is to make follow-up calls for people who have asked for food packs, prescriptions to be delivered and things like that, and following up the calls, make sure that they have everything that they need, that their food packs have been delivered, and the medicines are there for them to use, and basically just trying to keep on track, trying to keep everyone right, mental health support, and also older people who might not have a lot of family or family that they're in contact with. You know, a phone call for these people is absolutely imperative. So you know, signposting them to places like Age UK, Teesside, who'll you know, give them a friendly call and have a chat with them, and try to be interactive with them as much as possible.
So these are agencies that these people may have not heard of before.
Yeah, massively.
And you're as you say, you're signposting them, you're telling them about them just to keep them motivated, lift their spirits. What kind of, I mean, obviously in this given area, within the kind of the Teesside area, any idea on the number of people that are in this situation?
You know, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I know. I mean,
you kept busy though, right? You're inundated.
Yeah. But our team is dealing with well over 200 calls a week. So the system's working, but it's difficult because you often wonder how many people have fallen through the gap. How many people who are not getting the help that they need, or maybe not aware of what's out there for them. So we're hoping that we're helping as many people as we can with this. Yeah.
So the more that we make anyone else aware of it, that it might be a neighbor, it might be a distant relative. I mean, as I said, when you mentioned this to me the other day, and I felt a bit bad about it, I hadn't stopped to think about all of those people that are living alone and the situation that they would be in, other than those on my immediate doorstep, right? So, there's elderly people that live near me, they're on their own, and, you quite rightly, you go and knock on the door, or you kind of give them a nudge and say, if there's anything you need, we're here to help. And that I think is what everyone's kind of noticing, as in this community spirit. Suddenly, all the negativity of the past, anything like crime, it hasn't really been in the headlines, and it's been more about generating community spirit. So you're doing this day to day anyway, helping people to get back in the community. You're now doing it presumably remotely by phone. Is this, you're phoning people? And
by phone.
So when you get to the stage where you've signposted them in the direction of other services that could help them out in the situation, does it stop there, or how does it work?
Well, we have a team, Help Borough. That's the initiative, and we have a team. So I'll make the calls. We have a coordinator who'll go through the notes that I've made for that person on that day, and then they'll follow up from there. It might have been a completed call and might say, listen, everything's fine. I've got family, I've got food delivered, I've got my prescriptions. Thank you very much for the call. That's what it might be. But then on the other side of it, they might have nothing, they might have had nothing. So then we have to put things into place so they'll get what they need.
Okay, so this, as you say, is a bit of an interruption to your 9 to 5, shall we say, your work with the council. How long have you been there now? How long have you been doing that?
I've been at the council for 15 years now. Yeah, it's flew by.
Wow. Yeah. Mr. Middlesbrough himself, eh? But then it doesn't stop there, does it, buddy? I know your underlying passion is also very much to help the community. Tell us a bit more about your passion, your hobby outside of your 9 to 5. What else are you up to?
Well, generally, it's not something that you go out to try and do. It's just something that comes naturally, or things crop up and that you have to deal with. Religion plays a massive part in it. Charity in Islam is absolutely huge, and we've always been taught that, and we've always been given the go-ahead by our parents to really do as much charity as we can. So it could be as little as helping someone across the street, and it could be helping to raise money for a water well in Uganda or in Pakistan, or anything. It could be anything. It's just whatever help that we can give. That's what we're here for, and that's what Islam teaches, and that's what we try and do as much as possible. Yeah.
You reminded me there of that amazing campaign that you did a few years ago for Syria. The cake baking. Do you remember that?
Yes, yeah.
That was phenomenal. That was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, hats off to you for that. How did that, how did that come about in that instance, and what was the end result of it?
So there's a national organisation called Islamic Relief, and I've volunteered along with a lot of my friends for a long time, and they had a national initiative for Cakes for Syria, and basically it was an app. Put it on your Facebook, put it on your social media, and get these amazing cakes, bro. Death by chocolate. These massive cakes for £10 delivered to the person's door, and they just make the order. We get the cake and we deliver it, once a week on a weekend. And it was a national initiative, and I think they made well over £1 million.
Wow!
Yeah, it was
phenomenal.
Amazing. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Too many people eating cake though, man.
Nothing wrong with that. It's for a good cause, isn't it? So makes more sense. Justifies it.
Yeah.
But in that respect, the ideal candidate to put yourself forwards, your Facebook following, all the other things that you have going on in your life, and you still find time to give back. And so, does that come naturally to you? Is that from your upbringing, in a sense that you're always seemingly offering kindness, giving up so much of your time for good causes? I'm guessing, having known you, as I say, for such a while now, you don't even pause to think about this, right? It just comes naturally.
Yeah, I mean, my parents have instilled this in us. They encourage us to do it. So my father's had, built a hospital in Pakistan, a small eye hospital. I'm talking about a single room, couple of beds.
It's bigger than the eye hospital I haven't built, buddy.
So. And people are getting their cataracts operations done and things like that, and and we've supported that with my father's blessings, and there's a lot of things that little or small, large, big, whatever it is, if you get involved, even by just posting a status on your Facebook, it helps. All of it helps. So
yeah. So this circumstance with people, as I say, locked down, and as you mentioned to me the other day, you are currently locked down, isolating with your mum. You've left your beloved wife and your 3 gorgeous daughters at home to move in with your mum to look after her. And I chuckle at this because it's just testament to what you're like. You've moved in with your mum, but then you're effectively supporting your mum because she's particularly busy at the minute, charitably wise, isn't she?
Yeah. So basically, I'm thinking, well, I'll move back in, get this whole pandemic thing out the way. When life gets back to some kind of normality, I'll go back home. But she's constantly on the phone at the moment. She's doing a lot of charity work herself, in terms of Pakistan, giving ration. Obviously, we have a lot of people who are in a difficult situation here. You can imagine somewhere like Pakistan, which is a third world country, developing country, and it's very, very difficult for those people. So just to give a little bit, flour and rations and things like that, it helps an awful lot. So, she's constantly on the phone making sure that things are getting done. And
really, wow. So
yeah.
she's helping with the logistics of getting these rations to people in need.
Yeah, so we have family there in Pakistan, in the village that my mum's from, and we're making sure that the food's getting delivered, amenities are getting sorted. And we're talking about rice, flour, lentils, things like that. Really, really, like basic things that people can cook themselves and use, and hopefully try and get over this the issue that everyone's facing.
Yeah, and even thinking, like you say there, it's simple things, but perhaps now, and hopefully, perhaps the longer this goes on, the more people can start to understand and appreciate how those little steps of community spirit, of offering help to neighbours, elderly, whoever you feel may need it, it makes a big difference, doesn't it? And
yeah, massive. Yeah.
And it's just, as I said at the start, it's something that really does come naturally to you. I've always witnessed this, including as well. I'm fully aware, because of all the history we have, that if you aren't spending time with your family, if you're not working extremely hard for the council, you're then probably found at your next love, and what would that be?
Boxing.
Exactly. Boxing. So tell us a bit about your boxing history, my friend. Where does this come from?
So I've it goes back to when I was at school. Troubled young kid, had a lot of issues in terms of being the only Asian kid in school, myself and my brother, grown up in Billingham, where there wasn't a lot of ethnicities, just the indigenous community that's here, and sticking up for myself, but then turning on its head almost. It was like I quite enjoyed the feeling of not being afraid. And
yeah. Okay.
It started to turn the other way, where I was getting into trouble, and it wasn't because of what someone had said to me. It was my own behaviour that was being the issue.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So then I would forever be in Mr. Final's office, who's the headmaster at my secondary school, and along with him and Mr. Howard, my form tutor. They said, Imran, listen, you're going to get into trouble. You're going to get into serious trouble if you don't curb your
enthusiasm.
Curb my enthusiasm with my fists. So I was starting to realize and recognize this, and credit to them, because it was a fair to middling school. It wasn't high or it wasn't too low, but they were looking after a lot of children, and credit to them for recognizing that, because I certainly didn't recognize it, what was happening. And I'd end up getting into trouble with kids from Stockton, Thornaby, Norton, Middlesbrough, who'd obviously grown reputation and things like that. And it was a throwaway comment. my teacher said to me, he said, "Why don't you try something like boxing?" And that was it. And once he said that, it just clicked.
That's what I've been trying to do.
Yeah. So then I was just like, right, I'll give it a go. Tough, very difficult. Very difficult.
Where did that find you? Where did you end up going for your first start with it?
Yeah, I went to Stockton Boys, ABC, and the coach there, Chris Bales, took me under his wing. Really found a lot out about myself, because I was, when you're different from everyone else and you stand out, I was almost like an extrovert. But when I got there, I wasn't the best, I wasn't the strongest, I wasn't the fastest, and I wasn't the most respected, and I wasn't the one who was getting all the attention. So I had to earn that, and that was something very different for me. Yeah, so It was difficult at the beginning, but then did my best to get through.
So the discipline of that training, that really kind of curbed the way that you were, probably to where you are now, no doubt, right? Because I know that discipline is something that you're very, very strongly feel about it, don't you? Without taking too much away from the story from this, but you're very keen that is conveyed in your coaching now, right? So you went through boxing. To what kind of level? Where did it take you?
I boxed for an England select, regional shows. Went to places like Bradford, Liverpool, Manchester, Scotland, Wales, places like that, and boxed all over really, which was great. Found out, like I said, I found out an awful lot about myself. I boxed in Wrighton in Newcastle, and it was absolutely horrendous. It was my first senior bout, and I boxed a kid from there, and it was in Wrighton Working Men's Club or something like that. And mate,
I can't imagine.
It was in obviously late 80s, and I got absolutely hammered. I mean, I was walking to the ring, people were flicking beer at me. They had ties and they had nooses, and they were shouting, "Hang the packy!"
Goodness me!
So it was very, very difficult. I lost the fight. I had lost my bottle. The referee jumped in the ring in between the second and third round, and he was like, "There's two colours in the boxing ring, red and blue. Any other colours not appreciated. This is not South Africa." And that spurred me on a little bit. I boxed better in the third, but I lost the first two, and I lost the fight. And I remember I was given my award for the trophy that you get. I was given that by Glenn McCrory,
right?
And he put his arm around me, and I was like, that was difficult. That was very difficult. Yeah, tough.
It's certainly character building stuff right there, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
That's some solid foundations to experience that, to come through it, and to learn from it. So at what stage did you stop stepping into the ring with the gloves on, and then come out of it and start thinking, this is what I want to do as well? I want to coach.
Yeah, it was when I was 23. I got married when I was 23 years old. So after that, it all went out the window. And to be honest, I left boxing behind, massively in love with boxing, followed it, magazines, all of that type of thing, but just didn't have a clue about coaching and what have you. I started using a gym in Stockton called Natural Progression. It was right in the heart of Stockton. And I noticed there was a lot of kids who were just hanging about, like it seemed abnormal to me. that they were just stood on street corners. So I spoke to the guy who owned Natural Progression, and I said to him, I said, look, there's a room downstairs. Can we not put some bags in it, and I'll try and get some kids off the street, and we can, you know, nurture them and things. And fair play to him. Within 6 weeks, he knocked out walls.
Wow.
And then you had the original gym that we had.
Yeah.
We had something like 10 bags. We had floor space. We had everything set. And I was just thinking in my mind, just a few kids, just to get them off the street.
Just a bag out the ceiling, just drop a bag there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And then he's pulled out this amazing gym for me, you know. I was like, this is incredible. And next thing I know, there's like floods of kids coming through the door, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on here?
Brilliant. Yeah. And so you're potentially here, you're in a situation where you're seeing, as you say, these kids on the street, knowing that is highly unlikely to end well, right? It's not going to go in a good way, and thinking you could give back, really. Mr. Community does it again, so bringing people in through the door. And now I've had, I'm going to say, pleasure and pain of trying some of your training, the adult sessions over the years. But I recall even back then, you pointing certain kids out to me and saying, you know, this guy, he's just hanging around on the street too much. Obviously, it was charitable for him, but you were happier for having that person come into the gym and train, experience that discipline, more so than being out on the street, right? So, and it's obviously just grown from there, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I realized what boxing had given me. So I was thinking, you know what, if I could maybe replicate something for these kids, it'll help. Obviously, it was helping the gym as well. I was well known in Stockton because I've always gone to the mosque in Stockton. There's not one in Billingham where I live. So I was always in Stockton. So people knew me, and they knew me for boxing. Then when I started training, a lot of people were quite happy for them to send their children to the boxing gym and give it a go. And next thing you know, we've got, you know, 40, 50 kids, 60 kids on a night, 2 sessions, 3 nights a week.
Brilliant.
And then it just starts growing from there. Yeah.
And this is, just to remind anyone watching this is in and around your full-time job with the council.
Yes,
and your commitment, you know, to your religion, and I know that you're extremely involved in that community as well. So you're now in a situation where you're finding time to nurture the potential skills of kids that are hanging around on the street into, you know, more discipline, learn to, you know, handle yourself better, and have respect, right, for the community, have respect for others.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very lucky in the sense that I've got a very supportive and understanding family to allow me to do everything that I do.
Absolutely.
So a shout out to my missus who, you know, who
lovely lady, beautiful woman. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know how you get away with it, my friend.
So yeah, we've come to an understanding. She understands that I love it. And I'm not moping around in the house underneath her feet and probably eating everything that she makes. And you know, it's great. For me, it's brilliant because I've never ever thought of it. I actively thought that I'm trying to do anything, or it's not a numbers game or a money game for me. It's always just been about, you know, just doing what I love, and that's been the whole ethos behind it. Has been, I love boxing, I'm involved in it. I love my religion, I'm involved in it. The charity work, and being involved in different organisations with charity, it's something that I love. I'm involved in it, and my family, I love them, I'm involved in it. So it's only things that I really care about and love that has allowed me to do what, some of the great things that we've done.
And in that whole process, it naturally gives back, doesn't it? These acts of kindness, which you don't really even think about. As I said, it comes naturally to you, but in turn, it obviously makes you such that positive person that you are. So I was interested, like I said to you a few days ago, how you're feeling at the moment with not having that contact, not having that access to your boxing gym, to the family, your immediate family, your wife, yeah, and your 3 girls at the moment. What have you noticed about it in yourself?
Well, first of all, it's brought it all back, because I'm back in my old room when I was 15.
Brilliant.
So it's nothing's changed in the street. I'm looking out now, and the same houses, the same people, and it's really nice in that sense. So it's almost like nostalgic coming back.
Yeah,
that's the most important person for me in the world is my mother. So taking care of her is a priority for not only myself, my family, my brothers. So we're all a part of it. It's not just about me. So yeah, it's great that we put her on a pedestal, and that's what she deserves. She's the queen of the family, so we give her that respect and the love that she deserves. So that's why.
Bless you, mate. It's extremely admirable behaviour, and it is how it should be. I think the very fact that you can go from having so much interaction on a, I won't even go as far as saying a minute by minute. It is more literally second by second. Like literally, your day, you wake up, and I don't doubt you're communicating with someone. You're checking out on someone first. You're making sure that someone else is all right. You're all constantly looking out for other people, and you have that throughout your conscious day. And then with hardly any notice, all of a sudden, boom, door closes. And I'm wondering though, even with respect to the boxing club, okay, the boxing gym and the following that you've established there, how are you finding? You're not obviously the only one that's suffering from not being there. What are some of the fighters? How are they getting on?
So basically, the amateur boxers, all the young children who compete for the gym, I created a WhatsApp group, and we're in interaction every day. The coaches are in there, all the boxers are in there. They're given daily workouts, weekly workouts, targets to meet. They're posting their runs on there, their cycling times, their exercises. So all that's there, and then you have the pros, the professional boxers that I look after, and I'm checking up on them constantly, some more than others.
Yeah.
But they're all very active on social media, so I'm always looking to make sure that they're doing something and that they're working out, and things are getting done, and it's working really well. I mean, it's really difficult for the young people, the amateur boxers that I have. So all the coaches are interacting. What I did was, being in the boxing field, being in the boxing community, the family, I've managed to speak to former world champions, current world champions, future world champions, and what we've done is we invited them into our WhatsApp group, and they answered questions, and all the kids are bombarding them with questions, and they're answering the questions, and it's been brilliant. It's just a little bit more interaction, and it's just helped them keep focus, and they've all give out a positive message. Obviously, have a routine, get to bed at a reasonable hour, don't spend too much time on the computers, get out and do your workouts. I mean, you know, a few of the kids who are fasting as well, and they're working out as well, and you know, it's inspiration for everyone. So
yeah, it just goes to show how adaptable the human race is, isn't it? You know, given those circumstances, because albeit that when it comes down to fight night, there's effectively only 2 people in the ring. Leading up to that, there's a huge amount of camaraderie and community in the training process, isn't there? You know, and I've had the pleasure of helping out some of your pro fighters over the years, and you know, there's no need to mention names, but I've already spoken to some of them recently, and you can tell that there's this feeling of going from I mean, some of them were obviously coming up to camps, right, to come up to title fights and such like, and all of a sudden, you know, carpets pulled out from underneath them. So it's a huge change to someone who's in that game, to go from training as hard as you guys do to preparing diligently for something like this, to then have it effectively abrupted very, very quickly. So what's the word on the street with respect? We won't be on the street because you can't walk about and have a chat, but, you know, out there, what's the media saying about boxing at the minute?
There was a statement made by the British Boxing Board of Control. I think everyone's waiting for Boris's exit strategy from this on Sunday, and we'll find out exactly what he's going to say. But there may be shows behind closed doors. It's still going to be difficult, because the shows are almost like main events only. So the undercard boxers won't probably get out, because they rely on selling tickets with ticket deals and stuff. So with there being no crowds, there's no fights for them at the moment. That's why we're praying and we're hoping that we get out of this really quickly, so they can start. Well, everyone can start, but specifically for boxing, they can start their jobs again, if you like. Yeah,
exactly. Well, it's work, isn't it? You know, albeit that they're full-time athletes. For people like these guys and girls, they're professional fighters who are extremely dependent on their sponsorships. You know, the people that sponsor and look after them through any given year when they're lining up for their title fights. And yet they've been forced, like everyone else, they're in a situation where they can't offer their sponsors the exposure that they might have done. You know, but
absolutely,
but I've noticed the blessing from some of these sponsors that continue to support you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been brilliant. We're very lucky in the sense that these guys are still supporting them, and they're finding other work as well, which is interesting. So whatever they can do, whatever is allowed to be done, they need to put food on the table like everyone else. Or it's difficult, but like my father used to say, a little bit of struggle never hurt anyone. So
wow, true. It's very true. And I mean, there's quite possibly for this generation, our generation especially, it's been very easy, I think, up until this point to consider going through life and not having struggle like this. You know, it's forced upon us, but as we say, you know, we can adapt and we can come out the other end of this stronger. But it's very, very dependent on exactly why we're talking, on the community spirit.
Yeah, you know, absolutely. I mean, it's strange because I've never had as many video calls as we have now. Obviously with yourself, but also with work, with family. We're lucky that we've got, you know, this kind of technology available to us, because, mate, we'd be struggling.
We would. You couldn't rely too much on a carrier pigeon to get a message across at the moment, did you? We would be struggling. So drawing this to a close, my friend, what would be your your wisdom, your parting words of advice to everyone else out there who have perhaps found themselves in a situation where they want to help, they want to be involved in the community more, they're conscious of their neighbours all of a sudden more than they ever were before, and you know, as we've said, something that you do on a daily basis in so many different ways. What would be your parting words of advice?
Charity, giving charity, be charitable, smiling is charity. You know, saying hello, checking on someone, it's charity, you know, and if it makes them feel better, then it's charity. I wouldn't worry too much about the organized stuff. Just be a nice neighbor, just be a nice person, check on the older people, do it with the right intention. That's what I would say is the things that you do, don't do it for publicity. Do it with a genuine heart and a genuine feeling. Don't do the things that you do for fame and fortune. Just be a genuinely nice person, you know, to give something, to help someone, to smile at someone. Understand that the as big as it might be or as small as you might think it is, might make a massive difference to that person. So yeah, just I think everyone's capable of being helpful, being kind, and it's just as you know, and it brings it home. This situation that we find ourselves in brings it home that, you know, it really is a difficult situation that we're in, and the only way we're going to get out of it is if we all stick together and we all do the right things and we all do the good things. And hopefully that's my message to everyone is be yourself and let the goodness come out. That's
yeah, absolutely.
Blossom, let yourselves blossom.
Blossom.
Yes.
Beautifully put, my friend. Beautifully put. I think, you know, we, like you say, we've got time to reflect perhaps on the way that we may have been behaving leading up to this point. And as you say, the words of simple acts of kindness, you know, don't do it for your own gain. That's not what it's about. You are genuinely concerned for the other people in your community, and even the little bits that you can offer them can mean such a big thing for someone else, can't it? Huge.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly it.
Well, if we could be half the man that you are, my friend, when it comes to this, then we would be in a much better place. So thank you so much for your time.
I just want to say that, you know, that it's great that we're seeing what community can be like and what it is, and I just wish everyone well, and I hope everyone's safe, and we'll get through it, and hopefully see you at the boxing gym soon. So
not if you're going to punish me like you did before. I can't handle that. No, I'll be there to drop a hat, mate. Lovely to speak to you. I hope your family, your mum, everyone's well. Take care, and we'll keep in touch, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Cheers, Imran.